Okay, you introduce us.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the God Talk, guys. My name is Michael Mack. This guy is Michael Koran.
That's me.
One of my best friends.
Oh.
And each week,
it was worth it just coming to hear that. Not everyone could be one of my, maybe.
Well, the wonderful thing about recording this show is that you can hear it, and posting it on YouTube is you can hear it again and again and again and again. So you've tuned into the God Talk, guys, and we talk about each week at Cambridge Community Access Television. We talk about God, talk about faith, talk about spirituality and the ways that it impacts our lives, the way that we live it, and the way that it...
I was
our hearts.
I was at the Sufi dancing this
Tell
week.
me more.
The Sufi dancing, first Friday and third Saturday at Quaker House.
Here in Cambridge?
Yes, in Harvard Square, 7:30
Quaker
to 9:30.
House on Long...
Yes, 5 Longfellow.
Off of Brattle.
Yes, right off of Brattle. And they were singing, as we were dancing, Hallelujah. And then to Allah.
We can learn so much from each other.
And the devotion of the people, the Sufis, a lot of people are Sufis, many of us are not, officially, and the devotion to the word of Hallelujah, Yah, this is a abbreviation for Yahweh or God. And I could feel, in some ways for the first time, to just celebrate the very celebration of it. I wish I could say this well. Fortunately, you're here.
Try.
Yes.
Try to say it well. Try not to mess it up.
That's you. I don't go there. I'm beyond messing up.
Try to commit no crime. Just try.
Once you've embraced your life as a mess. Can't talk anymore. Okay, anyway.
You see what happens?
Anyway, the something about just singing it is a prayer. Is it a prayer? It's like bringing divinity to us and cherishing it, which you're very good at.
Well, it's offering it up and receiving it at the same time.
It's like somehow this. It's like if divinity's in the air, which it is, right? You believe divinity's everywhere.
Yes.
And you
do too, right?
If you do, I do. If we. I do. He's my teacher. You guys know that. And if divinity's in the air and we celebrate it and get with it, it brings it into a new birth. Really, for Christmas season, we're helping give birth.
Oh, yes.
The
Christ child inside each and every one of us.
Yes, which is there, and it new for me. I'm used to talking about this and thinking about it, but just kind of a celebratory chant is so.
It's a chant. It's a mantra. It's a prayer.
And cherishing.
It's an exaltation.
Thank you, as I do in this church on William Street.
When was the last time you were there?
Well, probably with you a long time ago. We might go again.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
The Pentecostal church.
Yeah, we should go again.
Just pray, and finally I'm understanding what it means to praise.
Praise, yes.
It seemed to be strange to praise. I mean, why would God, of all people, need praise?
I don't know that he needs praise. I think we need to praise.
That's what they say. I don't believe. But then we should say, I need to praise you. I know that.
That's because you're up here. If you were down here, you would understand.
No. Let's see. If I'm praising you, which I do, am I
lavishly,
doing it just for me?
You just don't stop with the praise.
Just for me, am I doing it?
Doesn't it feel good though? Doesn't it feel good to praise me?
Yes, but if I'm doing it for that reason, it does.
The more you do it, the better it feels.
Take it away from you. I praise Michael Mack as a really dear friend because it makes me feel good to say that. No.
What are you really trying to say then?
Okay.
What is it you really want to say?
I thank God. I know it from my Jewish roots. We say Baruch Atah Adonai.
And what does that mean?
Blessed are you, our God. We say that we would wash our hands.
Yeah.
Every Sabbath after.
Oh, really? How often do you say that?
A good a good religious Jew says Baruch, and he doesn't even say Adonai anymore. Hashem, blessed Hashem, about everything. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. We're having a good show. Baruch Hashem, I'm looking at you.
Okay.
And I really
So it's like when Muslims mention
Yeah.
the name of Muhammad and then follow it with
Pray-
peace
yes,
be upon
yes,
him.
but this is like all the time, and I understand from my perspective. Forgive me, distinguished viewer. I understand that for the Jewish God, like the Jewish people, were so vulnerable, forever really. And let's leave out the word God. The Spirit.
Until relatively recent history.
Yes,
but
yes, but it comes
that's another
again and
topic.
again. Yes, it comes, and the if we want to call God among other things, the spirit of the people, among other things,
I like that.
and that spirit is so vulnerable when you're getting, Holocaust and beaten by the Romans and the Assyrians and the Babylonians.
Well, let's take that idea and move it into Christian faith. That one of the things that is so beautiful about the Christ child is just how vulnerable
That's the
it
same
is.
thing.
And when we give birth to the Christ child in us, when the Christ child manifests inside ourselves, there is a tremendous amount of tenderness and vulnerability and
you need praise. You're a nice. We know that. You know that, Michael Mack. You're wonderful. That's helpful.
well, we all need it.
Picasso, his mistress, and Picasso refused to talk to her after she wrote this.
She wrote what, a tell-all?
Yes, she wrote, and she said for every morning, for an hour in the morning, Picasso would not get up, and she'd say, Picasso, the world loves you, they need you, they want you. And she had to do that for an hour to get them to get up. So I think, at least in the Jewish tradition,
I
as
relate
you're
to
saying,
that.
the Christian, that this spirit, this divine spirit is there, as we know in ourselves, right? Not all of us can be with it all the time, although we know it's there, and then we feel bad, don't we, when we're not?
When we miss the connection with
well,
spirit.
yes, without, and so it's very vulnerable, and the praise is to say, even to ourselves, divine spirit in me, or great self, greater body self, expanding body self. I love you. Come on, expanding body self. You can do it. It probably needs cheerleaders like the Patriots. And when that cheer comes, it helps that beautiful, vulnerable spirit to flourish and maybe get into a place where it's not so vulnerable.
Well, here's the way that praise makes sense to me, and maybe like you, but maybe in a different way. I have wrestled with how to praise. I mean, it's easy for me to go to the place of, I'm a sinner. Easy for me to go there. Harder for me to go to a place of, God, you are, as the Psalms might say, you are the greatest of all. You are the Lord of all. So that's been a little bit
But
more.
why hast thou forsaken me, as some say? Why?
Well, as at least one person has said, as many have said. But here's the thing. When it's easy for me to go there if I think of God or aspects of God as being the most beautiful, gracious, good, holy, generous, loving. I mean, that's all good. It's easy to praise. Say it again, and feel even better.
I feel it is. It's you.
It feels great.
You're actually even better than that. You really are. Take it in.
I need to hear that enough times.
Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Folks, is he taking it in? Is he? Come on. I think you are all those things. You are wonderful. I think he might be taking it in. You're the
I'm
judge.
listening.
Viewer, distinguished.
I'm listening without interrupting.
Yes, okay.
I'm at least doing that.
Good. Okay. That's hard for us to take in.
It is hard for us to take
It is so
in.
hard.
It's hard even to look in the mirror sometimes.
I have a story. I was so impressed with Michael Mack's story. He told 3 stories on New Year's Eve at the Heinz Convention Center, and I kid you not, they were the best stories that were told each hour.
That's why I brought him along.
Yes, it was really true. Though he might tell them. His show is coming after this. He might even tell us the wonderful story about his 15 pages of confession. You never know. But I have a story.
But that's another show.
This is my story, inspired by you.
Tell me the story.
This might take 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, so this is a story drawn from your own life?
Yes, inspired by you.
Okay. So can I
Yes, I'd love you
interview
to. I'd love you to interrupt.
Okay.
But let me before we're finished, let me, we have 20 more minutes, let me finish the story.
Okay, and is there something that you need to say in advance of the story?
No, I'm just starting it now.
Okay, so you're going to tell us a story, a true
Yeah,
story
true
from
story,
your life.
Yes, inspired by you. That was one of the rules of mass mouth, right?
So
Sure,
I don't know if it's a rule, but
They said that, true stories about they didn't say about yourself. So my friend, Bob Strand, from the University of Chicago, we were roommates.
yeah, when you were at the university.
Yes, at the university.
So what year was this,
21
maybe?
years, 1963.
1963. Okay.
Yes.
And you're an undergraduate at.
Yes, this is actually 62, actually,
All right.
1962. And Bob Strand, and I liked Bob Strand enough to hitchhike, those were the days, 1,000 miles
Oh yeah.
to visit him during the holidays, because
Mhm.
going home was too challenging for me.
So you were in Chicago at the time, and you hitchhiked.
To Kansas City, Iowa, if I have it
Mhm.
correct. It was, I think that's where it was. And truckers would stop then, it was safe to do
Oh yeah.
that.
And the two of you hitchhiked to his.
No,
home?
I hitchhiked alone to
Okay.
visit him. And,
Okay.
and came there at 6. And so,
Okay, I'm confused.
yes,
How did you meet?
we were roommates at the
Okay.
University of Chicago. And
And then
during
he left.
And then he went, out of winter break, he went home, and I went to visit him.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very
Yes.
good.
But he had a plane fare. I was not
Right.
that.
Right.
That
You had
lush.
this.
Yes. So Bob loved me even more than I loved him, because I wasn't so good at receiving love. And he comes to visit me a few years ago,
Mhm.
about 6 years ago, with his new
Here in Cambridge.
Yes, with his new wife. He has 2 children. He's
Yeah.
professor emeritus, has a big home.
Yeah.
Still
Professor Emeritus where?
from University of Rochester and
Okay.
maybe other universities.
And he happened to be passing through town.
They wanted to visit me, yes, and he comes to visit me, and I'm shaking because I'm comparing myself to him.
Oh.
And he's just coming, hi, good to see you, and I feel I'm single. He's with his wife, a beautiful Asian wife, and I go to my friend Dr. Tune-Up.
So you have a friend who fixes cars, calls
Yes,
himself Dr. Tune-Up. Yeah.
And Dr. Tune-Up is, among other things, I think I can say this, I hope, a rageaholic. He really gets angry when he gets angry. I mean, he's a real man.
So is this a? I guess this isn't the promotional spot then
For him, Dr. Tune-Up, well, he's great, Dr. Tune-Up. And Dr. Tune-Up, for example, Dr. Tune-Up, I introduced him to his wife. His wife, of all things, an old friend of mine, calls up and says, me of all people, Mr. Adult education teacher, Michael, do you know anyone who can fix my oil? Asking me, that's not a question. She'd ask me about Abraham or God, but
Yeah.
And I knew Dr. Tune-Up. He had come, and so I suggested Dr. Tune-Up. He goes and fixes her oil, and he's driving away, and he feels, this feeling, I need to go back and talk to that woman. And sits and talks to her for an hour,
Oh.
and now they're together for over 12 years.
Okay.
So Dr.
Beautiful.
Tune-Up it comes to my house, tuning up my car too.
Now this is while your friend is visiting from Rochester.
No, I'm sorry. This is before. I'm messing this up. This chronology. I'm just giving you a Dr. Tune-Up.
Okay, so I need some help.
Yes.
So this is before you know that your friend is coming from Rochester with
Yes.
his wife and his family.
Yes.
And you're concerned that he's coming because here he is, Professor Emeritus
yes,
with
yes.
his wonderful family, and here.
And here I
You
am,
are.
adult education teacher, and with no wife and no home and all those things, and no tenure or anything or pension. So
you're carrying all this, and you go to Dr. Tune-Up
and Dr. Tune-Up
for a tune-up.
and Dr. Tune-Up visits me, and he's just visiting me during this time, and he says, Mikey, I'd like to spend more time with you because I really like you. Because for him, I'm so impressed. I'm with a real man who can fix cars like you. I can't do that. And he's impressed to be with someone who reads, the Bible and other books. And I say to him, Brucey, I'm sorry, I really need to write and read, and I don't really have much time to hang out with people. And he screams at me in ways I couldn't even do justice to. No one has ever even remotely approached. I felt like a donkey was kicking me in the stomach. He screams, "What kind of answer is that? You don't have time for your friends." And it really hurts, but I'm stand my gun and say, "I'm sorry, Brucey, I don't have much time. I want to read and write. You understand these things yourself." So, but I feel really...
Presume nothing, but keep going.
Really hurt. And then after my friend Bob Strand visits, I go over to Brucey.
Rob Strand, your friend from...
Yes, from Iowa.
Rochester.
Yes, Rochester, Iowa. And I tell Brucey the same story. I was really, literally shaking, Brucey. When Bob was visiting, I felt so insecure. And Brucey says to me, "Mikey, how bad can you be? If I love you, Mikey." And a lot of people say, "I love you," but this is the first time it really, because this was Brucey with all of his anger and power. This is the first time it got through to me. Oh my, Brucey loves me. And I got it. And I felt loved. And I say, "Brucey, when you said, 'How bad can I be if you love me?' that sounds like a song." And he says, "Mikey, you go write it." And so this is the song.
This is the segue.
Yes, it's to the song.
Into the song.
Into the song.
Okay.
And this is the song, and I'm going to sing it to you, if I may.
Sure.
Okay.
And I think I can say that Mikey has recorded this on his, I don't know if it's current, but in the past I know that you've recorded at least part of this song as your outgoing voicemail
Yes.
for people who call in and get your voicemail.
Yes. You get this. You used to. Maybe I'll put it up again.
I kind of memorized it at one time.
Wow. So maybe you can sing along. You can. How bad can I be if you love me? How bad can I be if you care? How bad can I be if you love me? And I feel like I'm walking on air. I lost all my friends and my family. I lost all my money and home. But how bad can I be if you love me? Even if I'm all alone. How bad can you be
I'm a sinner.
if I love you?
I'm a no good sinner.
How bad can you be if I care? How bad can you be if I love you? And it feels like we're walking on air. Thanks.
Thank you, buddy.
This is inspired by Michael Mack's stories on New Year's Eve, which we may be hearing on his show.
Someday.
Yeah. So I think that was inspired. I forget about feeling love. We were praising, right? And praising.
We were at praising,
Yes.
yeah.
And so that praise from him got through to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed that
The
way.
praise from your friend Brucey.
Yes, way more than I ever dreamed I needed.
Hmm.
And a lot of people have said I love you, but, I'm sure you understand. If I really let it in, then they could take it away and hurt me. But Brucey was so...
Well, that's only part of the mechanism, I think.
I never let it in. Brucey was just too strong for me.
I
let it in. I couldn't, like his anger, it just got in.
A very dear friend yesterday took me to dinner for belated birthday dinner. And he brought along his beloved. And the three of us, it was wonderful. But I had a hard time receiving it. In fact, we began the meal with my suggesting that, okay, I could get the soup and I could get the Brussels sprouts, and I could get a salad. And he said, no way. You're getting the steak tips.
Wow.
I want to see you eat the steak
Wow.
tips. But I just felt unworthy. It's like I am unworthy
Of steak tips.
of this kind of loving kindness.
Wow.
Unworthy. So I imagine. Oh, and there was another part of the evening where my friend's beloved, she had a smartphone, and so a candle came out on a little cupcake kind of thing, and so she took a picture of that, and she took a picture of me, took a few pictures, and she's showing me the pictures of me. It's like, oh, I can't look. So I imagine that many of us share this unwillingness or inability or reluctance to approve of ourselves, to accept ourselves, to be anything, to be what we are.
To love ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And to accept the love all around, really.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
It is funny. How did that happen? I mean, I guess it begins with expectations. That there's some measure, somewhere somebody created a measure, and it might have been us, maybe just accepting a measure that a parent or an important person in our lives or society has said, okay, here's the measure, here's the bar, live up to that. So whenever we see magazines, for example, on the counters at in grocery stores, we normally see very beautiful people, handsome people, attractive people, and we are learning from the magazines, here's the measure.
It's a plot.
Measure up to that.
Or else buy our product.
Buy our product and then look like that.
Then, yes. So it's something we all have to fight through, I think. Most of us, at least.
Yeah. But even if Madison Avenue is not doing it, I mean, we do it to ourselves.
Well,
you know,
or maybe
you were just doing it. You were doing it. Your friend from Rochester,
of course.
it's like he's way up here.
Yep.
I'm way down here.
But
fortunately, he had Brucey there to set you straight.
But for my whole life, I mean, if we don't get it, perhaps from people, parents, for example, who, when we grew up, they weren't quite encouraged to do this. And we need it so much, it's hard to acknowledge.
If we're lucky, somewhere along the way, we get to learn it.
You meet Dr. Tune-Up.
Dr. Tune-Up, or I get to hear it from you, thankfully, and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for telling me when you pray. So we were joking about earlier, but when he graciously and generously praises something that I did, I reluctantly take it in. But it is with much gratitude that I take it in, because I'm not inclined to hear it from myself.
What would it take for you to really, because all your Catholic upbringing, the heart of it is, God loves you, Jesus loves you, and
Absolutely.
You're a son.
Absolutely. And in my heart of hearts, I believe that.
Yes.
I believe that I am loved. I believe that we are all loved. I believe that God is love, and I believe that God's love is showering down upon us. And that that when we turn away from that shower of love, we miss out.
And then how come that's not
That's a great question.
the way you live each moment of every day and night?
I live some moments that way.
And why not all?
Because I'm learning, because I have a lot to learn. And you are one of those who are teaching me. And any of the people that I'm close to who is kind to me, teaches me how to be kind to myself, teaches me how to be kind to others. So it is one of those things that is paid forward. That kindness is paid forward. And I feel very fortunate to have gotten to know people who are kind in that way. And it's been a great pleasure and honor to learn these things that I can in turn share with others. So, yeah. I remember when I was 25, 26 years old with really the mentor of my lifetime, a woman whose name I will say, Eleanor Stimson, because she had a profound impact on me, powerful impact on me, was the first person in my life who, when I was a student at community college, she kind of took me under her wing and really listened for the first time. She was the person who listened to all of the sorrows that I had been carrying around. I had never been in therapy before, but she, as a friend, just listened. And it was a great service. And so I began to learn then and there, I think, how to listen as well. Because I learned for myself, how transformative it can be and how much of a gift it can be. And she loved me, and I loved her, and I believe that she's deceased now. I wish I knew for sure. We were in touch for a number of years after that, and then just kind of fell out of touch, and I don't know what happened. But anyway, it was her friendship that I think of as being, she was the first one to really teach me, outside of my family, teach me what love is. So thank you, Eleanor, and I will thank you for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So,
Want to wrap it up for us?
well, we've got, what have we got? We've got 30 seconds. I guess we better wrap it up. Thank you for the...
Maybe a prayer. You're so good at that.
Oh, I'm sometimes good.
Okay.
I just learned this wonderful quote from Cicero, the Roman statesman, BC, who said that gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, it is the parent of all virtues.
Wow.
So thank you, Michael. Thank you for tuning in.